Okay, great. So when you go to submit your app, you're going to be presented with this form. It should identify you by name, the name you gave on the registration form when you signed up to participate in the hackathon. I've prepared this as if I'm an individual. So if you're an individual, you'll see this message. If you've decided to team up with somebody as part of the competition, you can actually promote yourself to a team by clicking this link, and it brings you to a form where you can edit your registration. You can mark that you're a team. You have to provide your team name, and then you can add team members. Like so. And then when you come back, now you'll see that I'm completing the form on behalf of a team called App Inventor. So if you're a team leader, you should see a form that looks like this, where we'll kind of explain the team information. And then if you click on here, you can go and you can either add more team members if people have joined your team. You can remove team members if people have dropped off your team. If you decided to dissolve your team, you can uncheck the team box and turn it back into an individual registration. The important thing to note here for team leaders is that you should make sure that the name and the email address for your team members are correct, because we're going to use this information to send the certificates at the end of the competition. So every member of the team will get their own individual certificate. So please double check that when you're working on a team. In the case of the person who created the team, we have your email already and you got the submission link at that same email. So we'll use that for submitting or sending the certificates rather. We're not asking for a ton of information, but just some basic stuff to help the judges. Obviously, you should provide a name for your app. So you can, I'm just going to call mine Hello Per, which is sort of our standard basic application. You can give a description for the judges, a written one that they can read through. This can be as long or as short as you want. We did put a maximum length of 4,000 characters, so don't go overboard. Because really it's going to be the video that's going to get the most value potentially for the judges. But you can say something like, "This is my submission. Everyone loves a meowing cat." But this is another opportunity for you to give the judges some context about what you think are the important pieces of your app. So if you wanted to give them like a bulleted list of things that they should look at, that's valuable. If you do the People's Choice, this will be published along with the app title as part of your description if you participate in that. The next thing you have to do is indicate what themes you addressed in your app. Originally, we had planned for this to just be, you could pick one, but some people have been saying like, well, what if I did this plus this other thing, right? So you can actually check more than one option. So maybe you want to say, I'm interested in climate change and in particular how it affects how people breathe, for example, or affects some other health aspects. So maybe that would be climate change in healthcare, or I'm looking at artificial intelligence, and I'm looking at the biases of training and how that affects people of color. Something, so you could do something like this. You don't have to have multiple choices, right? So if you're just saying, oh, I'm building an app that helps people coordinate meetings, then just check the working remotely one. That's fine. You obviously have to pick at least one. So if you didn't address any of the themes, then your app is not particularly competitive. So let's just do climate change for now. Then the next thing is a category for your app. Kind of what do you think is the main descriptor of it? These are taken from kind of the popular app stores. So like if you were putting this into the App Store or the Google Play Store, what sort of category would you have to put it under? So if you've made an educational app about climate change to teach people about the adverse effects of it, then you would say this is an education app. As I mentioned, there's the People's Choice Award. If you choose to participate in the People's Choice Award, then we will make the AIA file and the video file available for people to review your app as well, and then they can vote on it. If you don't want to participate, all you have to do is click no. If you do, then you click yes. There's no obligation to participate, but do note that if you do submit for the People's Choice, then the information will be made publicly available. So that may have potential things you want to think about in terms of people accessing the content of your app. If you're using private keys or things like that, then you probably don't want to. If you plan to publish your app on Google Play, you probably don't want to. But that's available if you just want another opportunity to share your app with the world. The next thing is then you just have to paste a link to the gallery if you built your app on AI2. So if I just open up here, if you've never published an app to the gallery on AI2, this is my data structures app from the talk I gave the other day. But what you do is you go to the project list, you check your project, and you click the button up here that says Publish to Gallery. You have to provide some basic content. I probably should have taken a screenshot, but let's just for grins. Do I have a high quality image? Yeah. Provide an icon. Let's have this as a video tutorial. You could put the link to your video here, but we're not going to require that. I'm not remixing code. This set from a tutorial on creating, modifying, and removing structured content. So you can provide some description and then publish. And once you publish, you see there's a share button here, and you can it gives you this link. You just copy the link and paste it into the box. If you are, like I said, if you're not comfortable publishing your app to the gallery because it makes it available to anyone using App Inventor, or if you developed it using Code.App Inventor, which has a larger cap on the size of projects, then you can click this link here where it says if you did not develop your app, blah, blah, blah. It gives you a file upload in place. And then you just simply choose your file. I'll grab one from my downloads. Okay. Likewise for the video, I mean, we would definitely encourage you for videos to upload them to YouTube or a similar service, mostly because they'll transcode and distribute the video around the world, so it's just easier for people to watch it, and it'll be compatible with pretty much any device they would have. So, you can upload to YouTube and then paste the link here. It works the same way. If you prefer to just upload the video directly, you click this link here. It gives you, again, a file upload, and then you can select the file. So there's a recording I did earlier. Now, for apps that you may have to log into, so if you made your app and it's got a login screen, you should probably provide the judges a default account with some data populated so that when they're going through and testing your app, that they can see how the app is supposed to work without having to go through a lot of rigmarole to get everything set up. So if you do have an app like that, then when it asks for login information, you can click yes and provide a username and password that people can use to log in. If you didn't do a login screen, that's perfectly fine. Not every app requires one, so that's okay. You just select no, and the judges don't need any additional information beyond that. You can also, at this time, share anything that you like with the organizers. This information doesn't go to the judges. This just goes to us at MIT. So like if you ran into problems or anything like that, this is an opportunity for you to kind of tell us if there are issues. You can also message us if you need to. But at least this way you can kind of have an opportunity to share any last minute things. And because this is not, the judges don't see this, it's not going to like have any impact on, their judging of your app. And then once you're done, you just have to check this box indicating that basically MIT has the permission to republish your app, either because we're sharing it with the judges, obviously, or if you're in the people's choice to share it with everybody else. And, if you win, then we also may reach out to you about doing a little story, possibly in MIT News. You may have additional opportunities to kind of communicate with us afterwards. So just check the box, and then you submit. And then you should get this submission completion form. You should also get an email indicating that you submitted your app. It'll go to the same email address you got the link to submit the app from. And then we have a little form here that you can fill out to kind of help us understand, how your experience was with the hackathon, things we could do to improve, information, did we do well with these sort of online workshops? What could we do differently about the online workshops? It shouldn't take you more than 2 or 3 minutes to complete this. It's mostly just kind of these multiple choice options. There are a couple kind of longer form things if you want to share more, but most things are not required to be completed. But it will help us determine whether we're going to do events like this in the future. So your kind of candidness here in terms of your responses is very valuable to us, and we really appreciate it.